So just looking in here, it's got a little bit of white paint in it. I've got some white rattle can at home. I might just give that a little sand and then just flick a little bit of white paint in there later on, because obviously you can see in that, kind of, if you know what I mean. It's either to polish it up, but I think it's just as easy. Hopefully it's not too bright, but I might just flick a little bit of white paint in there. If I just dust it and don't put it on too thick, but just make sure it's got a nice light dusting just to colour it up, it mightn't stand out too bad. And obviously with, yeah, because this is actually, that's pretty clean. It's nice actually. It's in fucking good nick. Focus, phone, focus. So yeah, it's in really quite good nick. So yeah, there's no point. I don't want to touch anything in there, but yeah, we'll carry on. I just noticed it was white paint there, so I just sort of update you on that. But anyway, we'll carry on. Right guys, so before I bugger off for lunch, I've managed to get this thing apart to a reasonable point. So I've got the fascia out of there, which I'll give it a clean. And obviously same with the glass, just here. And this, it was rattling around. I was wondering what was rattling around inside it, but it's the again the back of the thing. I really need to get that glass out of there. I presume it's probably soldered in by the looks of it, so I have to get that out. Apparently, this would have been sealed from this end too, because I chipped there was a whole heap of solder or whatever it was coming out of that, so I chipped it all out. So this was loose at the top. I just picked it out with a screwdriver and gently. But there's obviously got a blockage. I've tried to blow air through here. There's obviously a blockage in this line somewhere, which is going to be an absolute bitch to clean out. I don't know how we're going to do that, to replace the fluid. I don't know whether the kit comes with a new one of these. It may do. I don't know. Hopefully it does. Be nice if it comes with a new tube and whatever. I don't really know. I've been trying to do some bloody research on this thing, and there's not a lot around. There's a few from some forums like a few years ago, but not much else information, if you know what I mean. I haven't found any videos on this type of thing, and whatever. So yeah, I'm very tempted, if I can get the glass out of here and I can clean it up, I might actually put a bit of that metal mend on the back of that and fix that, and then repaint in the back of the white with the same paint that I do that little ring with, mainly because it's very hard to sort of see in there, if you know what I mean. But if I spray a nice bit of bright white paint in there behind, at least it'll help show that the red, whatever that stuff is, I have read it somewhere, I just can't remember off the top of my head at the moment, the fluid that's in it. So apparently the fluid that's in it is 4 times denser than fuel, so, or something like that, from what I can read. So as the air pressure that gets pushed through from the tank comes obviously down through that tube, it slowly pushes the fluid up and shows how full it is. But yeah, you've got to fill this apparently when the tank's empty, so when there's no pressure in it at all, and you've got to fill it up until it comes to that bottom of that line, from what I can gather, once you get the gauge back together and get it working. So probably what I'll do is, when I get it, I'll probably mark the bottom of the tube or something, put a little line in there or something with a black marker or something, just so I know if I'm mucking around with this and I've got it apart, and then we're trying to fill it up at some point, if that's kind of where I get to before I push it together, because this here just slips over top, which is fortunate. Just press fits on there. Yeah, then I can see where to put the fluid up to. You know, sit it in the vice or whatever. See where I can put the fluid up to, or whatever, in the car. I don't know how we're going to do it, to be honest. But yeah, you put it in there so it's empty. So that's that mark, and then obviously when you put fuel in the tank, it'll push it up. I'll have to do a bit more reading and research and work it all out. But yeah, it's a bit of an interesting thing. I think it could be a quite a pain in the ass to get right. We'll see what happens. But anyway, I'll keep working on it, and yeah, we'll come back to you later on. I'm about to go for lunch, so I'll bring that white paint and everything back then. Right, got this can of white enamel fast dry here. This is actually what I use to do the my PC case with the when I did that radiator shell. Turn it into a PC case for whatever it was, a 50s truck. So I don't even know how the match this will be, but hopefully it'll be alright. Might be a bit white, but end of the day, yeah, it might be a little white. By the time you get the bezel around it and a bit of shadow, it won't be too bad. Better than nothing. Probably would have been better with something like a bit more of an off-white, but just have to have it, so it'll work. Right. Let that dry. Let it dry for a while, and we'll see what that looks like back together a bit later. It's got to be better than no paint in there at all. So, a wee bit more of a play with this bloody thing. Because I'll definitely try and paint this in here and clean it up, make it look half decent. You seem to see the clear fluid in there, or the red fluid. And if I can get this frickin' soldered or whatever, if I can see, try and get it out of there. So I'll just do a quick wee bit of research, just double check, see whether that kit does come with the, well, that comes with the tube off here. Comes with the tube off the, I think, I've been trying to find some decent frickin' info. That's been a bit vague. So I'm pretty sure it comes with this tube and the fittings. If not, I've got the fittings here in that tube. I don't know if it's any good or not, but I can test that and just reuse it. Worst comes to worst, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I'll do a bit more research, see if I can. I'll find that. I've been sent a couple of 3 bits and pieces of information about these things. See how I get on, and just find out whether that comes with. I think it comes with the glass tube and that piece at the bottom, but I'm not sure on that because that is blocked. So that's going to be a real bitch fight to get cleared out. I'm not quite sure what I could put in there to get it out. Yeah, I don't know, because I was reading a couple of articles and a guy, like, yeah, probably 10 years ago sort of type thing, he was trying to clear one out too, to redo it. And he was asking questions, you know, what do I use to clean this bloody thing out with? Because he said he'd put brake clean and all sorts of stuff down in the tube and bits and pieces to try and get it to clear it. And I think somebody said in the end, like a muriatic acid or something like that. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe worth a try. I'll see. I'll just do some research and see what the goes, what comes with this kit. See if I can find a bit more information on that directly on the kit itself and what all exactly comes in it. Because if it comes with a glass tube and that copper piece plus the hose and the fluid, well, I've just got to get that apart then, don't I? So I'll see what happens. Righty guys, so I've been doing some research on this thing. I'm trying to see if I can find a kit available. I haven't found one yet. Anybody that's actually got stock. So why that is, I don't know. So yeah, I don't think it comes. I think it just comes with that tube from the tank and a vial of the fluid that goes in here, the red fluid. So yeah, I'm going to persevere and see if I can get this. You can buy all of these bits, but it's not terribly cheap when you actually put it all together, if you know what I mean. You can buy the tube and everything because these tend to get very blocked up. I'm not sure how easy it is to begin going to be to get it to clear. I don't know. I'm going to try and see what I can do. I might have to try and get it out. And maybe, I don't know, put it in something. And I wonder if paint thinner would clear it out. Don't know. People said they've tried all sorts of things, alcohol, brake clean, all sorts of things. So yeah, apart from putting it in some put some muriatic acid in it, if you know what I mean, or something like that, and trying to soak it, I don't know. But yeah, we'll try and see if we get it to clear. We'll try. If not, we'll go with plan B or C or D, really. Right, guys. Sorry, I'll be in a slightly position. Righty, so, clock. So I've got no way of holding that in there. It's meant to have a bracket on it. This obviously sits in here, that's what holds it, pointing down, I'm guessing. And it's meant to have some sort of bracket on it that picks up that bolt and that bolt. So, first use of the slip roller. Basically, I cut a piece that's about 40 mils high, so about an inch and, but over an inch and a half. No, yeah, but over an inch and a half. 50 mils, 2 inches roughly. So it's a bit over an inch and a half deep. So that's about the right diameter, close. So where the thing comes out for the adjustment for the winding the clock up, if I hold this in here and it overlaps a little bit, I've got to cut a notch out of here, which I'm going to do, and then I'm going to put it over top, mark this again, and clamp it together, and then I'm going to try and cut it and weld that together, and then I'll make a round bracket that I can slip over top of this, hopefully, and weld that round there, and then pick up those bolt holes. I'm just not 100% sure yet exactly how I'm doing it, because it's quite low compared with the rest. Take this off. All these other bolts are quite high, or studs or whatever you want to call it, but these ones here are quite low. So I'm not exactly sure what they had on here. So I'm making something to fit that to go around it. It may have just had little tags on there, I don't know. But I thought, to be safe, I can make a thing that goes right around it, and then I can make something that slips down over top, and I will weld a ring around it, and then I can cut a little notch out of it if I need to go over the piece, and that'll hold it all together. At least then I know it shouldn't come out. I might be able to shorten this down or something like that later on, but that's kind of a plan at the moment. So, I'll cut a notch and clamp this over here once I get that notch cut out, so I can sit it right down, just pull it and clamp it together, and I should probably just sit there like that and clamp it together, and then I can join it and weld it together. Right, so got this made, joined together. I just used where it was joined to put the weld there because it was just easy and I didn't have to weld as much up. So that fits on there nice and snug. It's not overly tight, but it's nice and snug. So next plan is to make, as I said, I might make a like a ring that goes around like that and join it together. I'm going to have to leave a gap in it, I guess, for this, but if I make it one solid piece, if I make it one solid piece, if I start off and then I can cut this spacer in it, because it's close to the thing. So basically I'm going to do kind of like this, but go right around the outside of down there, because it's too high, and to pick up way down here near the base. I might better cut all this off, but I still would like to go all the way around, otherwise it might stretch and expand and all that sort of stupid stuff. So I'll make that bit now. I'll sit that over some panel steel, mark it out, slip it down, obviously leave plenty of meat on it to trim it down and drill the holes in it, and we'll go from there. So I'll do that. Right guys, so I've got this far with this clamp, so I welded that on there, I've ground it down. It's a nice tight fit, so it's good. So I've done that, I welded it all the way around here, I've ground it down a fair way, still got a little bit of cleanup to do. I've just put some black marker on here, and then pushed it down on top of those tits with this in it. That's why I had that in it, so I could locate it. I've cut this piece out, so now I've just got to drill some holes in here so we can slip that over, and then I can finish this off and I'll paint it black. And obviously I'll do a little bit more trimming around here once I get the holes in there and get that situated. So I'll grind it down and clean it up. I may shorten it a little bit, I'm not sure. I might just leave it that length, not 100% positive, but that will hold that down, and basically, as I said, it comes right down to here and push against that, and it'll hold it down. If I need to, I can space it up a little bit, but at this point, that's kind of what it is. So we'll go from here, and I'll get it a bit more cleaned up, and I'll probably come back to you just one more time before I bugger off for the day. Righty, before I run away for the day, so I've got this cleaned up and ground down and ready, quick sandblast, ready for a quick coat of paint basically. I'll put some etch on it before I leave, and then in the morning when I get here, I'll paint it black. So we'll see you in the morning. Righty guys, so welcome back again this morning. So I just sprayed that bracket I made to go around that, and I actually pulled the ampere gauge apart again because I realised that I hadn't resprayed that little hold down plate, so I've sprayed that black, so at least it's not just itch. It was annoying me because I forgot to do it when I put it together, and then put it on there and then sort of like forgot about it. So I've sprayed that as well. So the next trick now is to, I haven't got any further with the Speedo, but I've had that rag here soaking in this paint thinner. I don't know whether this is going to clear this tube out or not, what it's going to do. I was just hoping maybe it might have been enough to soak the inside of that tube and get the crap out of it. So what I'll do is I'll put a bit of air in here and see if we can get the air to blow out that, because it's blocked. We may have to order another whole tube and guts. Apparently people have de-blocked them, but apparently it's a bit of a pig, because obviously it's got this little right angle in here, and you're never going to get, if it's blocked right in that corner, you're never going to get in there to clear it. You know, you could try some acid or something like, you know, like a muriatic acid or something like that, but I've let that soak in there overnight. So we'll give it a wee blow through some air. We'll see if we can get some, maybe something out of it. Still blocked. So that's still blocked after being in there, I don't know, 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours sort of type thing. So I'll leave it there for a bit longer and see. Some of the reports I've heard haven't been terribly good. We may end up having to replace this tube, and by the looks of this body, it's because it's starting to fall apart. It's made out of that pot metal. You know, we could end up replacing that too. Who knows? Because you can buy all these bits. It's a shame that somebody out there is just not putting these together and you know, sending all without the face and have it all sealed up, ready to. I suppose they can't because it's got to be set with fuel tank, isn't it? So yeah. But anyway, you can buy these. Put this part put together like this. Just shame they can't put the fluid in it. But I suppose, yeah, it's got to, you got to fill it enough till it brings it up to the empty. And I suppose every car and every tank and every thing's different, you know. So, but in theory, from what I've worked out, it's meant to be, that stuff's meant to be 4 times as heavy or as dense as fuel. So in theory, this here, if you times it by 4, should be the diameter of that tank. Looks about right. So it might be this tube here, it might be that, it might be the length of that. That looks about right. It would be about 4 of those. So yeah, as the weight of the fuel comes up, it pushes it up. That's probably why a lot of these tanks were all about the same size. Like in Dynamo, they just made them longer. So yeah. they may have made longer ones of these too, I guess, but I guess even if it was longer, you'd still just have to put the same amount of stuff in it. It would still push up and down, eh? They may have had bigger ones, but yeah, it ain't unblocked yet, so what am I going to do now? So we've got ready to go around to Mum and Dad's, because they got back last night, and they may have COVID again. Unfortunately, they got through it all right the last couple of times, so anyway, it's just like another freaking cold now, and it's stupid. They're still not really going on about it here, mind you. I really don't watch TV anymore. I just the crap. Like, there is some good programs on TV, but man, some of it's so picky and crappy, and my God, the ads on TV nowadays are just pure garbage. From when I was a kid, like, they just got so bad and so stupid. Like, there's a couple of ads on TV, and you just sit there and go, what the hell is this about? And it's not until you get to the frickin' logo right at the end of it, you go, and what the fuck did that have to do with that? Because there was a new power company. Yeah, started up here. I think what they call themselves, I think it was a power company or something like that, and they call themselves Frank. And these ads were so fucking stupid that it was just like, what the hell is this all about? And it's not until you get to the end of it and you go, what the fuck did that have to do with power? But it was because, you know, you be frank, you know, and you freaking like to say really freaking like blunt, rude things. I don't know if that's it's not a common thing used nowadays, but it's sort of being brought back because of this ad around here. But it's just like, fuck me. The ads are so stupid, it was dumb. But anyway, look, the boys from Ohio are also talking to me. Hold on. Oh, actually, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a quick wee look at this fuel sender tank pickup thing while I'm sort of dealing with these gauges. I know it's kind of related, but it's not. But until I sort of get into sort of speedo and have a look at it that Dad's got, might as well look at that and at least see if those tubes are still able to be used, if you know what I mean. We're quite lucky here, we don't really deal with kind of the rust issues that some of the states have, because these actually look like they're in a reasonable sort of order. Like, it wouldn't be hard to replace that line and this line if needed, which I probably would anyway, but it'd be interesting just to see if this is all clear and whether this is going to work. So I might get these off. Oh, it's off anyway. Put it down. I'll get the stuff out. I'll try and clean this pickup up and stuff. I'll play with this and I'll come back to this because it's so fucking wise and shit going everywhere. Come back when I got it. Right, guys, so we've come up with a plan C. Dad hasn't found the speedo yet, but he's still looking. But there's a guy up north in New Zealand that rebuilds these. There must be a couple of guys in this wee workshop, and they rebuild a lot of the old gauges and bits and pieces for people. So yeah, we're going to send it up to them. So I'll put it back together. Not 100%. I've quite got that face in there straight. It's a bit of a prick of a thing because everything's got to be clocked right. The surrounders got to be clocked right. This is going to be clocked right. The thing's got to be clocked right. You got to try and get it all to sit in there together. Look, I would have got it if I kept persevering, but I just thought, well, it's got to go up there, it's got to be pulled apart, so it's, as long as it's close, it doesn't matter. But I left that out of it, just so it's not awkward. I'll just put that in beside it, and I'll also will tape that to the side of it. It's a little bit of a broken piece. Not that they probably need it, but you know what I mean. I'll throw it in there just in case they happen to, I don't know, you know, if they, I can't see them reusing that top piece, but they might be able to, you know, they might be able to repair it. So I'll throw that piece in there just in case they might be able to pull it all apart and repair it. I don't know, they might have 3D printers, but if they haven't got that piece, well, they can't see what it looks like. But anyway, so I'm going to wrap that up. I'll get some bubble wrap and all sorts of crap here, so I'm going to wrap that up. I'm contemplating taping a little bit of that in front of it. Once I've got a wee bit of, put a layer of shit in there, just so the glass doesn't get broken. And just put a small square of that and then tape it up and then put more bubble wrap around it with the other bits. Just to save that glass because it has been broken before. Somebody's made that when I was starting to clean it up. I actually noticed it's not 100%, it's not a machine thing done, it's been done by hand. You can see it's been done by hand. So this is another piece of glass in it. So yeah, I'll put a little bit of board in front of it. I'll just find a piece and I'll cut it up and I'll just tape it to the front, so at least if something does happen to hit it in a box, like I'll make sure it's in a fairly good sized box anyway, so it should be fairly safe. But if something does happen to get punctured through the box, you know, frickin' couriers are rough as shit. I know, I used to be one. When the stuff gets thrown around, so at least if something does happen to go through the box, it'll hit that piece of wood before it hits the glass, you know, and it might save it. So yeah, I'll do that. I'll get it wrapped up. I'll throw it in a box and then I can give it to the owner, and he can send it away. And yeah, hopefully they don't take too long to get it back. Yeah, and I'll keep working on these other bits. So yes, those parts should be almost dry, so I should better put that stuff back together. If I can find that other one, if Dad does find that other one, I'll have a look at it, because I don't know whether they will redo the face. I know there's kits to redo them, you know, with all the little lettering and stuff like that. They may have that, they may clean that up, repaint it, and you know, because I can imagine there's probably reprints of that, you know, black lettering that you might better put on with the, you know, like the vinyl type stickers, and repaint that and then put those markings back on. I have seen that sort of stuff done. What might be just like a vinyl that you can put on there and cut the windows out. That may get done, but if Dad does have another gauge there, he might have a better face, you know, that I might better swap back on to it later on. We'll have a look. So we'll see how that goes, but yeah, he wants to send it away and get it all rebuilt, so that's him, you know, his money. I'm happy to do that. At least we'll know that is 100% right. These guys do it all the time. I'm just learning, but I'm quite happy to repair it if I need to. But you know, I'll see how sort of get this packed up, and I'll bring you back when I'm doing some more. Righty guys, so I've got the clock back in there, and I've got that the oil pressure gauge back together again after thing. I was just thinking, when this is on here like that, right, and let's just surround it on, it goes on top. Do that. Oh, it's in the cart, sorry. Anyway, the bring this one over. And when this is here, is on top of that, you can't see in there, but I'm just thinking, there's a light that obviously shines through there, and I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference, but I just wondered if, with that being black, it won't reflect the light quite so much, and I just wondered if I paint this piece white here, you know, is it going to help reflect the light off the back of the stainless steel to help shine it down into the gauge cluster, because it's only the one light. There's not as many lights in the backs of these gauges, you know, back there, it just had the one light. We might put an LED or something in there just so it's a bit brighter. We'll see. See at the time when we get that far. So I just wanted to wonder if a bit of white paint in there, I'll paint back in there. The fresh coat of white one, if it just might be a little bit better than black up in there. Just a thought, it might just help reflect that light back off that stainless steel to help brighten it down there. Maybe, I don't know. So I'm going to do that anyway. So that's why I just taped it up like that. So you can take the gauges back out in there after, because I was just sitting there looking at it, I was like, yeah, I might do that. So I basically just set that over top with a bit of tape on there. Put a marker pen across there and then taped it all up. So I'll just flick a little bit of white in there and spray it back down in there since I've got that white here. And I'll do that and then I'll probably have lunch, I think. Right, so I just flick that. I'm not too panicked about, you know. We'll just unmask it and begin with it. I just think it'll be a wee bit better. Help reflect that light back down. You know, it might be just, it mightn't do anything at all, but you know what I mean. Can't help. Especially the old lights are pretty dim in those sorts of things. So yeah, I think. What you can't see up there anyway, if you know what I mean. Once it's covers on. So I gotta get it covered. So I might actually give it a polish up in here. So it helps reflect the light, but now when it's like that, it will clamp up. Like there's no, you can't see up in there, but that might just help that light push down in there a bit nicer, if you know what I mean. But yeah, it's starting to look good. It's starting to look good. So like that, clamp down and glass back in it, and the other gauge is back in it. So only really that one and that one there we've got to do. I will just let that the other gauge soak for a bit longer, see if we can get it to clear. I don't know if we will, and worst comes to worst, I'll just pop it back together, and I'll slip it in the hole, just so it's kind of out of danger, if you know what I mean. Yeah, and then it's really the speedo. Quite funny. I've actually seen some of the dashes like this with this in it, but without that on the side, if you know what I mean. I think, by looking at pictures, I think this could have been an earlier one too, or it could have been a big 6, which is the bigger car. It might have been in them. I don't know. Yeah, that to me looks like it's been in a different sort of dashboard. It hasn't been in one like this. But I have seen this style of face in there, you know, with this side to side instead of stacked. So, you know, that will go some lunch. Right, morning guys. So, I'm going to have a quick wee clean up some of these pieces, polish that stuff up. I'm going to have another quick look at that fuel gauge, see if that's happened to unblock itself. I doubt it. We'll have a quick wee play with that and get that, at least that front ring polished up for it. So when we do get a chance to put it back together, it's nice and polished up. But apart from that, I'm kind of at a standstill here with gauges. It seems to be destroying my life. You get halfway through something and then you have to go back to something else. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the rest of that steering column together. Put the steering wheel on it, put the pieces down through the inside, the two adjusters for the throttle and the light switch part of it. I'll at least get that down in there. I won't put the switch piece on it yet because I've still got to paint those bits, which I can probably do shortly. But I'll get all that other stuff together. There's a few little bits and pieces. There's on the bench here. There's a few nuts and bolts and bits and pieces. Some extra stuff there that I don't need, but from the two steering boxes I pulled apart, there's a few extra bits there. So I'm just going to go through that and sort out what I need to put all the little bits and pieces together on it. I've got a couple of schematics that I'll pull up just to refresh my memory. Again, because it's been so bloody long since I dealt with it, but then couldn't put it back together completely. Yeah, it's been a while, so I didn't want to have to pull things apart and put things back together and pull things apart and put them back together again just to have it together the way it was. But anyway, so I'll get that together shortly, but I just want to polish these couple of pieces up and just see if that gauge is clear. And we'll come back to you. Right, that's the bezel all cleaned up. Matches the ailerons quite nicely. So that's cool. At least they will all be got that brassy look, which is good. I think they would have been all originally nickeled, but with giving them a buff, whatever was nickel was left on them just disappears pretty much. But I think they look quite nice like that anyway. Doesn't really matter, they will match, so all close. That one's a little bit more rosy, but yeah, should be right. It might be a little bit of copper in that, maybe. But yeah. Anyway, that's that done. I'll have a quick look at this gauge or the body of that gauge now. Right, I just tested this to blow some air back through here after I had it soaking in this. Oh, stop flickering. So yeah, blew some air through here after it's been soaking in the reducer. You know, I probably could have had it soaking in a million different things. Probably, you know, fuel or whatever, or you know, I could probably try some. What else they make? They make that CLR and all that sort of shit, or some maybe some evaporust or something like that, and might get in there and clean it out. I don't know. It's just a matter of persevering, but I think we're going to end up probably buying a whole new setup, I think, because I guarantee, because that'll be the finest little frickin' hole in there, and I guarantee it's blocked. I'll bet you that. I think it's the same size tube. A hole, and that's bloody fine enough. So this is a bit of that tube that runs back to the tank from that, and Yeah, that's that's smaller than that again. So that's fine. That's bloody fine, that little tube. So the likelihood of us getting that cleared is not high. I fear. That's probably why they sent a new one of these too, because this was actually kinked and broken. I think it comes with all the little fittings on it, so hopefully they're the right ones. We do get a kit, but yeah, I just saved this because it's broken in half, but it'll give me the rough length. Says the kit that comes with 15 feet, which is, what's that, 15 feet would be, it's about 3 point something a metre. 3, 4, 5 metres. Might be about right. Yeah, somewhere in about there. I'll have to work it out roughly, but about 5 metres ish. 4.5, 5 metres. Just wondering how much is here. That would be 3. Yeah, might be close to that there. Might be quite that long. Save it there because it's got all the little ears and stuff on, so if we have to use any bits off it, we might have to sweat them off or something like that. I don't know, because it looks like it's been brazed or sweated on there or something like that. It hasn't been a flared thing. It's something that's been, I guess, yeah, like sweated on there. So you probably could get it off if you really had to, if the ends don't happen to be what they're meant to be, especially on the tank end. But I guess they should be the same, because the picture that they show in the instructions looks like that thing. So here's open. Right, anyway, we'll go and play with the steering column on it, and do a bit wee with that. Make that look a bit prettier. Whew, man, she's cool this morning. Get some diesel on that heater shortly and get it going, get it cranked up, warm the place up a little. And also, I'll put this on this video. People might know before they get to this one. But we'll start and stop. So, I don't know if anybody else knows. I'll wait till I put this piece in, just in case. But yesterday, not long after Arco and Heidi left to go back to Minnesota, William from Ironhead hopped on his Harley and went to do a couple little messages, I guess, and I'm not exactly 100% sure, but whatever bit of road he was travelling down, there must have been a car that had stopped in front of him to turn, and so he went to put his brakes on to slow down, and he must have been, I don't know whether it was just a bit of fine shit on the road or something like that or whatever, but apparently the back brake locked up and the bike slid out from underneath him. So he's a bit of a sore boy. I think he broke his left wrist and must have done a bit of damage to the end of the fingers, like ground meat off, tore a chunk off his butt, and probably, I think he's got fairly good, frickin' gravel rash or seal rash, like up the backs of his legs and his arms and all that sort of shit. Apparently just about ground his boots back to steel caps and all that sort of shit. So yeah, it's a bit ugly, but yeah, he's still talking, so that's the main thing. But yeah, he's going to be sore boy for a while, poor bugger. But yeah, he did have a crash helmet on, but he said he only really had, I don't know whether he had jeans on, but he had like long pants on, obviously, but he only had like a t-shirt on, so I think he's going to go buy a pair of like riding pants, like Dragon jeans or something similar. I don't know if they still make Dragon jeans, do they? But a pair of those like riding Kevlar sort of type jeans or pants or something like that, and probably a half decent top, I think. Because I tell you what, for the bit of bike riding that I've done, I've always worn, even if it's been hot, a decent jacket and a decent pair of pants, because if you fucking come off, there's nothing worse than being fucking torn to pieces. At least if you might get a bit of a burn or something like that from sliding across and it, you're getting the rub from the road, but not direct on your skin. I would rather put up with that than freaking flesh torn off everywhere. So it's a bit of a sore boy. But anyway, I may put this in this video, I may not. see whether they say much in the next few days on some of their videos before I get this one up. Anyway, we'll catch you later on. Righty, so I'm having freaking issues with that thing. I think it's dirty fucking fuel. I know it's dirty fuel. There's that tank on his back of his truck. I think I've said that before too. So I've got this on here. Obviously nuts on that. I passed that up and that's in there. So it sticks out the bottom here. I haven't had a decent look yet. Just been doing other stuff. So it sticks out the bottom here. So we've got to put it's this in here that way somewhere, however it fits. Screws on there, and then there's other bits and pieces go on behind that on the other end of it. Also, this here goes down in there, down through the centre of that one. I've just been cleaning up this. I've been trying to get that screw out of there, and I did heat it up with my acetylene torch, but I'm pretty dubious. I don't want to get it too hot because this is a cable for the horn, I'm assuming. So I don't want to get it too freaking hot, otherwise I'll end up burning and whatever. I presume this is a freaking electrical cable because the other end of it's pretty weird. I'm going to have to do a wee bit of research. Because it's got like this wire, but I don't know if that's actually got a wire in it or what. It might be a bit of solid core in there. Oh, sorry. It might be a bit of solid core in the centre. I'm just not 100% sure on that, and it looks like it's being chewed off, so I might have to replace it anyway. But I've been struggling to try and get that screw undone. I've come in here and knocked on this with a frickin' punch and a hammer a few times, trying to see if I could break the mechanical grip free. I just can't get that loose, but I've polished, well, cleaned this up, sanded it up. I don't know, I might just leave this button thing. I might just try and polish it up, the top pieces, instead of repainting, because it's original and it's not in bad nick. It's not as though it's all worn off or anything like that. And I think if that was just buffed up, you can say, well, yeah, you know, that's original, it's never been touched, you know. That was good enough with a bit of a clean up. That's if it cleans up really nicely and shines up a bit. But I'm just going to give this a shine up now on the buffing wheel, see if this polishes up, because I've just sanded that back up and cleaned all the shit off it. And then I'll need to try and get this apart if I can, just to assess what's going on with this cable. And double check, you know, if I have to paint these, well, at least I've got them apart to paint it. I could paint them, but on there, but it'd be just nice to have a wee look inside that horn button and bits and pieces and just work out exactly what's going on here. But anyway, so I'm assuming it's a wire down through the centre of that. So I'll carry on and get that done, get that polished up, and then I'll have another go at see if we can get this apart. I have soaked it a couple of times too, but I don't know, I just can't get that frickin' screw to move. Right, so I've got that all cleaned up. I'd like to better try and get it apart if I can, to work out whether this is actually a wire, not just a like a little metal cable. I think it's wire in there. I'd like to get it apart, but I need to do some, just work out how to dig it apart without destroying the freaking thing, obviously. So working on that. What else was I going to talk about? Oh, so in here, this is the bottom of the steering box. We're just looking at some good illustrations on actually on the clutch for adjusting that for when I get that all together and on the car. Some really basic diagrams. So that's one that's equipped with a distributor, so that's the one I want. That one's got a like if it's got a magneto. So obviously they had either. It's a good thing on the, a good basic thing on the carburetor, so I know what the bits actually do. I'll better use this shortly too, that's the horn. So I've got the horn here, so we'll rebuild that at some point shortly. This has actually got quite a good diagram on the fuel gauge, petrol gauge. See, petrol. So it just shows basically how it works with the little tube that comes in and pushes the fluid up and around it. So if you don't quite understand that, that's how that works. So yeah, but I was actually trying to see whether there was anything in here about that horn switch, headlight switch, like on the top side of it, if you know what I mean. Just see if there was something there to tell me how to pull the bloody thing apart. But it was a good thing on the, what do you want to call it? Distributor, some good basics, and obviously the brakes, the emergency brake, hand brake. It's called emergency brake in here, but there's nothing directly on that, on just how to adjust that, what do you want to call it, on the horn button. Well, it's got all the basics for the tyre rod ends and whatever, you know, basic wheel alignment stuff. Man, like modern cars don't come with any of this shit, do they? So yeah, I've just got to get all this sorted. But anyway, so what goes on down here, and so this goes on here, that bolts on either that way or, yeah, can I go that way or that way, and then this here bolts on like that, but it's must sit, sorry, So that there must bolt on. I'm just trying to work out which way around, whether it's might be that way, maybe. I don't know. And then there. No, it must be. This sits about that direction. I know that. I think I've got some pictures somewhere. So that pig sticks through there, and then it controls all the bits in the end of it. And that's the headlight switch and all that sort of stuff. So I've got to paint all that up shortly too. Get that back in there. So that all goes on the end of the column, but I won't put that on until we got the motor and box in it. But all this can go together up till that point, if you know what I mean. So it's kind of where we're at the moment. But yeah, I'm going to have a dive through my some of the PDFs I've got on some of the maintenance books. I've only got parts and pieces. I've got sections, but not everything. So I want to have a look through and just see if there's anything in here to say how this comes apart. Because that screw would be to hold it on that shaft, but how to get this piece off without damaging it to get these, so I can get it off, if you know what I mean, and clean it all up and make sure it works, and maybe replace the cable in the centre, if you know what I mean. We'll just see how we get on with that. I'll do some research and we'll come back to you. Right, I've actually got the dash back out of it because I actually thought these here were the same thread as these, but they're not. And I was struggling to find to work out what they were. So I took the dash out, which has also given me the opportunity, because I hadn't put these little, like the earth pieces in the back for to run the wiring. They must be like the daisy chain for the earth stuff. Not there's many wires on it, but yeah. So, and I've managed to find out what thread these are. It's actually the same thread as the bolts that go through these, which was kind of handy. So I just got to find some nuts for that now. Hold this in. This is only in temporary. And I've just taped that fuel gauge piece in there just so it's out of the road and it's not going to get damaged. I popped that in there earlier. So yeah, just working out these last little details, and then I can actually put this back in there properly and permanently, except for this, if you know what I mean. But I thought while I'm pulling it out to double check what these were, because I thought they were the same thread, but they're just a little bit, they're the same size, but they're just coarser. I thought it was the same thread, but it's not. So that gave me an opportunity to figure that out, do that. I found the little tit for the go on the back of that. Really wrong. What did I do with that again? Where the heck are they? Man, I keep putting things down. There it is. Let's throw that on there so I don't lose it. And get it on there. Well, it's kind of on there, not really, but yeah, that's what's meant to be on there. If I can get it to run on there properly. Doesn't matter, it's on there. At least I know it's not running away now. We can sort that out later. So yeah, I had to find a couple of slightly better screws fit in there that were a little bit bigger. The original ones are pretty fine. So the only really other thing I have to sort out, I think, is the ignition, and I'm not quite sure what this other frickin' hole is for. We've got one for the badge that goes on here. It's a little Studebaker tag, which I want to try and get off that car if I can, and bring it down here, and at least see if we can get one copied, or something. So yeah, hold on, I've got a phone call. Man, this thing is frustrating. I really want to get this apart. Obviously I've got that, been playing with this stuff. And it's just frustrating me because I would like to get a part, because this definitely is a wiring cable. I'm guessing it's probably a, I don't know, it obviously earths back down through the main piece. Well, this creates it like the earth switch, if you know what I mean, like it probably earths back down through that, and this completes the circuit back to it, if you know what I mean. So I would like to replace this cable because you just don't know how well it is, if you know what I mean. It is long enough to join, but what's it like in here? And there's obviously that little brake arm clamp piece on the bottom screws in from here. But how the hell do you get this horn button off it? The only thing I can think of is possibly it's screwed on. But, man, I think it's Bakelite too, I don't really know. It's some sort of, it's not steel, it's some sort of like plastic or Bakelite or something like that, and it's in really good nick. I just, fricked if I can get it off. I don't know. I've even like gently tried to pry that up and thinking maybe this popped off and then you might better get that off, but I don't think so. So it's a real pain. It'd be nice to get that off just to replace that cable. Yeah, I haven't got it really any further here. I was actually just trying to find some washers, but they're too big. I haven't got anything small enough, I don't think. Because I want to try and get it so I can actually button these things up. Don't have to worry about going back in underneath there, you know, except for the old piece, but that's why I thought, well, if I put all these bits on, at least I don't have to get in there to put that stuff on. I've just got to put wiring up and whatever. And it's only a couple of freaking cables, like it's not as though it's a whole dash full of stuff, so with the floor I can see in there quite easily if I get in from underneath, so it's not that difficult. It's awkward, but not that difficult. Yeah, I don't think I've got any little flat washers, because I assume it would be little flat washers in that dash. Might be spring washers. I'm just going through all the bits and pieces that have just been sitting in amongst stuff. But yeah, I've seen that before. Don't know, can't remember. I have seen it on something before when I've been fixing stuff earlier on. Oh, I think it was inside that switch, that headlight freaking switch that goes on the down through the column. So yeah, kind of where I'm at the moment. I'd like to be getting that freaking all this stuff together, but I'm kind of been mucking around with that dash, so I should take some of that stuff over there. Until we work it all out, but we'll get it back together. Oh yeah, it'll be off the other column, I think. But anyway, I'm about ready to bugger off, I think. See if I can do a bit more research on that frickin' switch thing when I get home. Not having. The biggest problem is some of the stuff is so friggin' old. It's all in books, not on the internet, which is a pain. I haven't got anything. I haven't come across anything. I'm eating a PDF stuff on these. Well, you know, not so much on this stuff, not so much on this. I got a few drawings of this stuff, but so it's not quite so difficult. But yeah. Anyway. Because I've even still got a bit of wiring from here. It sort of just comes in here and then just loops over to here. That probably picks up for the earth for this sort of stuff, and probably the light. That's pretty much all it is, isn't it? Everything else is mechanical. Yeah, it'll be just for that, and probably an earth for the ignition, I'm guessing. Yeah. Everything else is done down here. Pretty sure it's not much else. There's no real wiring thing. It's 1 gauge. It's electrical. That's the amp meter. 8 meter. 1 bulb. Ignition switch. Yeah, that's about it. Pretty fucking simple back in the day. It's not like frickin' like even that thing there's simple compared with modern stuff. Man, my uncle got a brand new Mercedes station wagon SUV thing, and my God, it's like a, you know, like 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, we thought those sorts of things were spaceships, but man, that frickin' modern thing, man, holy shit balls. It hasn't got a regular dash in it of any description. It's just this big frickin' LED panel that runs frickin' halfway across the dash. It's like, holy frickin' shit. It's like, fuck fixing that when it breaks. Too much technology in some of this stuff. But anyway, yeah, we'll deal with this tomorrow. I might have to go get some nuts to fit on here and some wee washers. I haven't found anything else, I don't think. I'll have another wee look back through here. There's a bit of stuff floating around here. Maybe. Maybe. So that's another like choke. So type cable. Was. That's the handbrake cable. The piece that goes down to the lever, to the gearbox. But yeah, I haven't really got much on here to be able to look through. A couple of bits and pieces. I think these are off that too. I'm not sure. Not sure. Anyway, we'll carry on.
Welcome to Iron Outlaws. Stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss this.